Once upon a time, in a far-away country, there lived a very beautiful prince. He was so handsome that the fairies from the land of fairies and even the witches of the forests were in love with him. One day, the prince was sitting in the garden of his palace when suddenly a beautiful witch appeared. She said to the prince, "I want to marry you." The prince replied with dislike, "I cannot marry a cruel and cunning witch like you. You torture innocent people. You imprison girls and make them your slaves. I know you are that dark witch." Hearing this, the witch became extremely angry. She used magic and sent the prince into a deep, lonely forest. There she locked him inside an iron stove and said, "Now only a princess with a true heart can open this stove." Saying this, she disappeared. Time passed. Many seasons went by, but no one could free the prince, and moss climbed up onto the iron stove. Then one day, a beautiful princess went hunting and lost her way in the forest. She tried hard to return to the palace, but she failed. Evening came. Darkness spread across the forest, and she became frightened. Suddenly, she saw a light and heard a gentle, heartbreaking voice. "Help me." The voice said, "O kind-hearted princess, if you free me from this stove, I will show you the way out of the forest." The princess hesitated, then agreed. A hand came out of the stove, spreading a golden light. A glowing path appeared in the forest. The princess thanked him. The prince said, "Come back to this forest after 3 days. Bring an iron knife and scrape the stove. Only then will I be freed, and then I will marry you and take you to my kingdom." The princess promised and returned to the palace through the golden path. She told the king everything. The king, worried for his daughter's safety, sent the beautiful daughter of a blacksmith in her place. The girl scraped the stove all day with the knife, but nothing happened. The prince asked, "Are you the same princess?" She said, "No, I am the blacksmith's daughter." The voice from the stove said, "Go, bring the real princess. Otherwise, a terrible storm will fall on your kingdom." Then the king sent a farmer's daughter, but she also failed. The prince again said, "Go, bring the true princess. Otherwise, the kingdom will be destroyed." Soon thick clouds gathered. A storm came. Rain fell. Destruction spread everywhere. Seeing this, the princess became terrified and went to the forest herself. She scraped the stove with the iron knife, and slowly a beautiful prince appeared. The prince was finally free. The princess was overjoyed. The prince said, "O true princess, you freed me. Now I will marry you and take you to my kingdom." The princess said, "I will go with you, but first I must meet my father." The prince warned her, "Remember, do not speak more than 3 words." The princess returned to the palace and told her father everything. But unknowingly, she spoke more than 3 words. When she returned to the forest, neither the stove nor the prince was there. The princess became very worried. She began searching for the prince. She traveled day and night. Hunger and exhaustion weakened her. At last, she reached a small hut where 3 fairies lived. They gave her food and a place to sleep. The princess asked them, "Do you know any prince who was imprisoned in a stove for years?" The fairies said, "Yes, he is the most handsome prince in the world. The dark witch had cursed him, and now he has returned to his palace. Hearing this, the princess became very sad. Tears shone in her eyes, and fear ran through her heart. But at that moment, the red fairy smiled and gave her a shining magical box. "Inside are 3 magical needles," she said softly. "They will help you in difficult times." The blue fairy gave her a beautiful box decorated with blue gems. It was closed. "This box will not open now, but when the right time comes, it will open by itself and amaze you," she said mysteriously. The green fairy gave the princess a shining magical sword whose blade glowed like moonlight. The fairies said, "You must climb the ice mountain. These 3 needles will guide you, and when you reach the dark forest, a green serpent will be waiting for you. You must defeat it with this sword. Only then can you enter the Golden City. That is the prince's kingdom." The princess carefully kept all 3 gifts. Hope replaced the sadness in her eyes. She gathered her courage and began her magical journey. She climbed the tall, snow-covered mountains. Cold winds, freezing temperatures, and exhaustion could not stop her. For many days and nights she walked through the snow. At last, she reached a deep, dark, thick forest. The forest was silent. The branches of the trees twisted together, creating a strange fear. But the princess moved forward with only one purpose: to find the prince.
Suddenly, she heard a rustling behind her. She turned quickly. A huge, green, poisonous snake stood there, its eyes burning like flames. The princess pulled out her magical sword and with one strong strike, killed the snake. The ground shook. The leaves of the trees began to glow. Suddenly, a bright light burst from the other end of the forest. A new path opened, the path to the Golden City. As the princess entered the city, her eyes sparkled with wonder. The entire city was made of sparkling diamonds. The buildings and doors glimmered with their radiant light, while the streets were paved with pure gold. Her exhaustion turned into joy, but she knew her true goal was still ahead. She entered the grand palace. Since no one recognized her, she lived like a simple maid. She worked all day, stayed silent, and kept the prince's memory in her heart. One day, while cleaning the floor, she heard 2 palace maids whispering. Their words struck her like lightning. "They say the prince is going to get married." Night had fallen. The palace glittered because tonight a royal dance was arranged. It was announced, the girl the prince chooses to dance with will become his bride. The princess sat sadly in a corner of the palace. Her heart was heavy. She opened the magical box given by the blue fairy. Suddenly, golden light rose from the box. When it faded, a beautiful red dress appeared, a dress that looked woven from stars. She wore it and went to the palace garden, crying silently. Her tears fell like pearls. She cried for the prince for whom she crossed mountains, forests, and dangers, and yet he did not know her. By chance, the prince passed near the garden. He saw a beautiful girl crying in a corner. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. He felt drawn to her. That night, when the royal dance began, the prince chose only her. In the red dress, she looked like a dream. When the dance ended, the prince announced in front of everyone, "I will marry this girl." Then he told them, "She is the same princess who freed me from imprisonment. She crossed ice mountains, dark forests, and a poisonous serpent for me." The palace echoed with applause and joy. The prince and princess were married. The princess's father also attended the wedding with tears of happiness in his eyes, giving her his blessings. And then the prince and princess
lived happily ever after. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, remember to press the bell icon so you receive every new video notification first. Thank you for your support.